to go.
Well, hello there. Mark Hopkins here. We're going to do another behind the scenes. I'm not reading off the teleprompter yet. That's for the short. So we're going to do another behind the scenes kind of reaction video session again today. We'll get into the details as we record the intro to it in our recording session, but the short version is it's the Tiffany Fong interview that she did with G-Lock, who is in the same unit as Sam Bankman Fried. There are a lot of reasons why I wanted to get into it. We'll talk a little bit about that after the intro, and then a word from our sponsor. Cool. All right. So, let's first say a shout out to Harper Belmont. They are the studio that is the kind of the parent, the thing that makes all this happen over here for Ask Dr. Bitcoin, The Merge, and Roundtable, and all the shows that you watch here. You should start a podcast. They'll help you with yours as well. If you like how this looks, and you should, you should see what we are able to do for you. All right. So, harperbelmont.com, obviously. So, I guess we could just jump right in. We've got we pulled about, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 clips.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's a 48-minute interview. I definitely encourage you to watch the whole thing. We'll put the link in the description. If you're watching this on Twitter or LinkedIn or some other place, you need to subscribe to our YouTube, where we put the most metadata in all of our descriptions. So go to youtube.com/themergetv. In the description for this live video, as well as all the clips and resulting videos that we put out, we'll have all the links to both G-Lock, Tiffany, and everything else that's pertinent to this little recording session we're doing here today, so that you can see the everything for yourself. But like I said, it's a great interview. Reasons why I wanted to kind of dive into it, because we haven't covered SBF too terribly deeply on the network. I mean, we talk about it when it comes up in the news, but we haven't done wall-to-wall coverage of the trial or anything like that. Is because it was a good interview with someone that had just come out of the system, that had a personal experience. So it's newsworthy, but it's also, there was a lot of kind of moments in the interview that we'll touch on that were very revealing about what prison life is like, as is contrary to maybe popular opinion or what people have seen in, TV shows and movies and whatnot. So it was a kind of a good reality check in that respect. And they touched on some serious issues and definitely provided a unique perspective on SBF and who he is as a person, as is distinct from the persona that's been built up for us in the media and in, crypto, Twitter, and elsewhere. So anyway, that's that. That's why we're doing this. I don't think there's anything else to say other than to jump into the recording. So, Hill.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. So I'll read the prompter script, and then we'll go to the first clip. Well, hello there. Mark Hopkins here for another episode of Ask Dr. Bitcoin. This morning, indie tech journalist Tiffany. This is different Tiffany Fong script. Is this the one I gave you?
Maybe. Hold on. No, hold on. Sorry.
That's all right. We've covered Tiffany Fong a couple times. I may have given you the wrong one. I may have clicked on the wrong one or something. Let me look at my...
No. You gave me the right one. Hold on.
I was like, I remember saying this before.
Give me a second. My bad.
That's
I
right.
don't know why it didn't load up, but
that's why it's a live BTS session. They get to see the magic being made.
Mm-hmm. Teleprompters are very fun to work with.
We might, if we've got time and it doesn't take too long to do, talk a little bit about Gemini at the end too, because one of the other producers here, Jen,
Can bring Jen in to
Yeah.
do that segment. I'm not up to date, really.
Yeah, it'd be good to bring him in because I've been thinking about it all weekend, but it's like there's 80% of a good. It would be a good segment for a roundtable, but there's not quite a whole show to it yet, or a whole narrative yet. And I won't be doing roundtable this week for those of you who watch that because I will be in Denver most likely, or on a plane back from Denver, one of the two. So I'm going down for the Morpheus AI event on Wednesday in Denver. Thursday, I think I'm doing like a boys club NFT event, which is a cool group, Boys Club DAO, Boys Club NFT group. And Friday there was something like at 6 o'clock that I was invited to, some sort of DAO event, but I think I'm going to try to get on a plane before that one starts. So I unlikely that I'm going to stick around for that one. But if you're in Denver this week and you're watching this, reach out to me. My DMs are open on Twitter, I believe. Yeah, that's the one.
My bad. All right.
No worries.
So
All right. Stop fidgeting.
let me get everything set. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Cool. All right. Well, hello there. I'm Mark Risen Hopkins, and I'm a what? I didn't write it right. Okay. Well, hello there. Mark Risen Hopkins here. I'm a cryptocurrency and blockchain enthusiast who's been studying and learning about the space since 2011. Today on the show, we're diving into an intriguing conversation between Tiffany Fong and G-Lock, shedding light on some of the darker and more controversial aspects of the crypto world, including the disparities in sentencing guidelines and the unique experiences of those entangled in high-profile crypto cases. Join me as we explore the nuances of justice, redemption, and the human side of headlines in this captivating episode. Stay tuned.
Chat.
If you're dialed into the crypto Twitter scene, you've probably come across Tiffany Fong and the crypto journalists. All right, let me start that again. If you're dialed into the crypto Twitter scene, you'll probably come across Tiffany Fong, the crypto journalist who's been everywhere since the FBF saga. Tiffany Fong is a 28-year-old social media maven, YouTuber, and crypto investor from the New York City area who first made waves in the crypto world after losing $250,000 stored on her Celsius account. This loss fueled her drive to uncover scams in the crypto market. Known for her boldness and sharp wit and insightful coverage of the investor market, her YouTube and Instagram channels have only grown in fame. She has grown in fame herself after her interviews with the FTX founder, Sam Bankman Fried, and others in the space that are connected to his case, who is not currently under house arrest. Should have corrected that. He is in MDC Brooklyn awaiting his sentencing. So this interview that we're going to talk about today is with G-Lock, who's the latest in the series of conversations she's had. G-Lock was a friend of Sam Bankman Fried's in the unit where they were together in MDC Brooklyn, where Sam is awaiting sentencing. Like I said, G-Lock is a former member of the Bloods gang in New York. He served a 5-year prison sentence as part of a gang indictment and has since stepped away from gang life. While incarcerated, he was known for his protective stance towards Sam Bankman Fried. Now G-Lock is focusing on his rap career. He's only been out for about 15 days, I believe, and he's under the management of Gene Borello, who is is committed to staying out of trouble and making a positive impact with his music. Was that too... do I need to do another run at that?
Yeah, maybe just in your own words. Tell us what we're doing.
Well, I wanted to get the bios in there.
We have the bios, but
Okay.
maybe we can
All right.
stitch it.
Yeah, I mean, my own words was the beginning one that we did. So,
Okay, that's fine. Then here, read this part again.
this part here.
You stumbled somewhere here. Today on the show.
Yeah, I didn't, once again, I didn't read out loud what I wrote. Today on the show, we're diving into an intriguing conversation between Tiffany, Fong, and G-Lock, shedding light on some of the darker and more controversial aspects of the crypto world, including disparities in sentencing guidelines and the unique experiences of those entangled in high-profile crypto cases. Join me as we explore the nuances of justice, redemption, and the human side of headlines in this captivating episode.
Cool. Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay.
What are we watching? This first one.
So the first one would be, I don't know.
Let's just get into
the first
it,
one that on the list, actually. Yeah, let's just go to it. And
people always ask me, like, did Sam ever pressure you? Because I'd go to Sam's house and people were like, did he like try to pressure you into doing anything, etc. But Sam is nothing but fucking respectful. If anything, he's timid. He's shy.
Right.
He would never.
Exactly.
That's.
so this is, yeah, they spent a lot of time kind of, and we'll see this in some of the other clips, talking about the personality of Sam Bankman Fried, which was unique because he's presented as kind of like this, dark villainous character, like almost like a comic book villain in the media, in the press, because he did harm a lot of people through his actions. But these, he's not that guy when it comes. He's not Lex Luthor inside. And he's certainly not Lex Luthor in his day-to-day life. He's like we said elsewhere, he doesn't make eye contact. I don't even know if that's part of one of the clips that we have. I just remember that from the interview. G-Lock is like, how the fuck can you sentence somebody to life in prison if you can't even make eye contact with the guy? Like, he's just really a danger to society. And this is you're gonna hear that come up in some of the other clips as well as the idea that he's locked up with major cartel figures. He was in a notorious criminals unit, so up there in Brooklyn, and G-Lock got out after 5 years for violent crimes that he was convicted for, and Sam Bankman Fried is going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Yeah. Not saying he's innocent of his crimes, although G-Lock makes that assertion later on in the interview as well. But is life in prison truly justice for SBF? We'll get into more of that. What's the next clip? Oh, is there more on this one?
No, I was trying to avoid. You know how last time it looked weird with my mouse on there, so I was trying to figure out how to do it with the keypad, but it's not.
I used to ask him questions like, for example, like, I'll come to him and say, Sam, so when I go home right now, how can I take $5,000, turn it to 25 grand? You know what I'm saying? And, he started as a
trader.
Yeah, a trader. So he knows a little bit about it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a Jane Street trader.
On Wall Street too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. He's at this company called Jane Street. Yeah.
Yep.
So he was just telling me like things from before he came to jail of the stock trade, because he says it changes every day. But he just teach me, a couple things like, you got to invest.
This comes up in prison a lot. Like whenever you're locked up, and it starts if you wear glasses, you're a marked man for giving all kinds of advice you're probably not qualified for. I mean, that's how it was for me. But if you're in for anything that's white collar at all, there's a reason why they call it crime college in the feds, because if you're open to providing advice, or if you want just to bond with people that you're there, you get asked a lot of advice. And the most common thing is, how can I get out there and make a lot of money but not break the law? What are some stock trading tips? And so you form these little kind of like cross training groups like that. It sounds like SBF is falling right into that pattern in Brooklyn.
Think tanks.
Yeah, brain trusts. Yeah, it's very much like that. Like my experience was, I would go to the library every day, and the people that hung out in the library were also mostly people with glasses, because they wanted to spend a few minutes away from being asked questions that they were unqualified to answer. And so then we kind of formed a little group that said, hey, maybe we can, I don't know how to formulate the proper legal request, but you over there, you might. So we would get advice from each other and pass it around. And that kind of became our role within the ecosystem. And that's going to naturally happen in every unit. And it's interesting to see that, I don't know if it's in this clip or one of the other ones, that SBF is like, he's basically saying, hey, you know what, I'll help anybody that asks me, because it seems like that's within his personality, is to be helpful.
It's different from a hood person and somebody of his caliber. You understand?
Yeah. That's
Dang, I
you wanted to see where it went from there?
no, I just want to. Production-wise, I don't want the little bar to pop up.
Oh, got it.
Maybe I can use the Mac controls. Let's see. Just experimenting here.
I will say that I'm not going to call Sam innocent. He was convicted, and I'm not going to say he is or not is not innocent.
Well, listen, we hear from G-Lock Live. You heard? I'm telling you right now. I know he's innocent. You heard? Y'all bugging now. For real. Y'all really bugging. For real. Free Sam Bankman. Y'all bugging. You heard?
This guy's going to single-handedly start the free
Let my boy
SBF
go
movement.
home.
Yeah, let my boy go home, man. Like,
You know what to do, Biden.
yeah, like, you know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, but people say, like, what he did is worse than people who kill someone, because a lot of people might have killed themselves. And I'm like, do you seriously not see a fucking difference between actually murdering someone and it's horrible if someone killed themselves?
How can you even compare that?
This is this is an interesting point. So like everybody is innocent in prison in their own minds, right? I mean, without a doubt, I was locked up with 500 innocent men. I think there is the viewpoint that you're seeing G-Lock represent there is something that I encountered myself, because you go through the whole process of whenever you're accused of a crime, and then you have to kind of prostrate yourself before the judge at sentencing to appear contrite. Even if you feel like the system kind of screwed you, you still have to I'm sorry, I won't ever do it again, whatever I did. And so I kind of had got myself locked up and kind of convinced myself that it wasn't a political prosecution, that it wasn't out of bounds. And then, I'm locked up with a variety of people, but a lot of people like G-Lock who's, look, man, I mean, some of them, I don't know what G-Lock would say this, but a lot of them that I were locked up with, like, yeah, I kind of deserve to be here. Like, I didn't do what they say I did, but I was involved in crime. I did criminal things. This has just happened to be what put me in prison. It boggled their minds that with me, in my case, that there was no aggrieved parties. I just didn't fill out a piece of paper that I was locked up. And it certainly boggles their mind in the case of SBF, where I don't know that this was necessarily the case during the majority of the time when he was locked up, but it certainly is the case now because of the way the market has risen since the collapse of FTX, that it's very possible that the investors who, quote unquote, lost their money in FTX are actually going to get more money out than what was in there from a dollar's perspective. So the idea that there are no aggrieved parties, even in SBF's case, is actually, you can actually say that there's some validity to that. It's an interesting situation. Certainly he didn't commit violent crimes. Certainly he didn't harm society to the level that a lot of people that we say should be locked up do. Yet he is very likely going to see a sentence that puts him behind bars for the rest of his natural life.
I mean, obviously he's not getting charged with killing anyone who may have, unalived themselves.
Right. He's
So
not
it
being
doesn't
charged
really
with
matter.
that, but
it doesn't matter. Like, what are they talking? What he did. If that happened, actually you can get charged with he got charged with what he needed to get charged with, right? I mean, is there any debate there?
no, he was all charged with financial crimes, fraud, and you could make some technical arguments that what he did were not what he got charged with, but those would simply be technical arguments. There was commingling of funds between Alameda and FTX, without a doubt.
Too.
And that was not part of the user contract. The user contract was, this is an exchange. Your money is here. It's not elsewhere in someone else's custody.
Oh, that didn't come up
in this conversation?
No, like in his trial? Like that's not, he didn't get additional charges for that?
For what?
Not disclosing the Alameda.
No, that is.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, but like that, they don't have it's not a specific law.
It's not a specific crime.
Like it was, they
it's like misleading.
They folded it under things like wire fraud or, like
got you
contractual fraud and that sort of thing, which honestly I would prefer, because if fraud is fraud, I don't like the idea that we have to have a specific type of fraud for specific types of like crypto fraud or whatever, But so like I said, there could be a good lawyer could make some technical arguments that he wasn't guilty exactly of what he was charged with. But on the other hand, like, he definitely violated the agreement that he had with his users. Any argument that he isn't guilty of some sort of fraud is always going to be a technical argument, without a doubt. Like you can't argue that. Now, where you can make a solid argument, in my case, if you believe that prison is a thing that should exist, does he truly deserve to be locked away for the rest of his natural life? That is a solid question, which I personally don't believe he ought to be. A lot of people disagree with me on that. I don't think I don't think that's justice. I don't think that's serving justice in any way to put this kid away for the rest of his life. That's making him a sacrificial goat for a lot of other bad things that happen in the industry.
I mean, what about like use him to somehow exploit him, make a lot of money off him, and then give that money to those who are aggrieved?
Well, I mean, you could say that would be great justice, but they're already going to get all of their money back. And the only way that they don't get more than what they lost back because of the rise in the market is because lawyers took too much of a share of it.
Yeah. So they're doing the whole setting an example type shit.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly what it is. As I said in this interview, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was in one of our clips. They Bernie Madoffed him. They really just were setting an example.
Let's see what else we got.
Do you think it's because he's afraid of the rumors about dropping the soap, or do you think he just?
Oh shit!
That's what I was wondering, man.
So the question came up because
I don't think so. Like, no, that's
because Sam he's like being depressed right now after his trial. This is how they got on the topic. He's been depressed. He hasn't been going to the showers. He hasn't been shaving or anything like that. And so Tiffany asks what I have been asked myself in some shape, form, or fashion or context 1,000 times since I've been out, is some variation on dropping the soap, which as I think he's about to get into, that's not a thing that still happens in prison, if it ever did.
Wait. You're saying
you don't have to watch your ass when you're in the showers, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Let's see what the rest of he says, then I'll say my part.
Those are things that used to happen in the 90s and the early 2000s and stuff. Like this era, that's not really going to happen.
Doesn't happen anymore. He doesn't want to make himself too pretty for the other men. Oh, so that stuff doesn't happen.
No, that's the kind of.
That's good. So no one's beating him up.
Nah, nobody's beating him up.
Good.
You know, it was just that one incident with the guy. You know what I'm saying?
So I was actually curious to hear what he was gonna say about that topic when she asked that question, because I was in a camp, so it's minimum security, different social dynamics, but there was a thing called the PREA Act, or the PREA laws, that were passed a while back that really took it changed the penalties for, first of all, most of the sexual abuse that happened in prison prior to PREA was generally not inmate on inmate. It was guard on inmate because of the exploitation factor. But that's not to say that inmate on inmate violence and sexual assault didn't occur. But they passed this thing called PREA that really strengthened the discipline and sentencings and stripped away a lot of the immunity for guards who are caught in sexual abuse scandals to be protected by their status as a law enforcement officer. And so, in general, you don't see a lot of sexual assault or any. I didn't hear any reports of any. I heard one. Actually, that's not true. I heard one third-hand report of a sexual assault happening the entire time I was in Beaumont, and that was over the course of like 7 or 8 months. So that's to say, it's not to say it didn't happen. Obviously, I'm not the totality of the VOP or the prison system, but like the general culture, frankly, is so homophobic in prison that to hear of a sexual assault is pretty. It's a noteworthy in that it's so rare.
I mean, it's always an interesting conversation, right? Because who knows that this isn't something that we can get good data on, regardless, because of what you just said about the homophobic culture. But obviously, like, cops have been doing that to people forever. But you always hear men's rights activists citing that, oh, most sexual assaults are against men in prisons, right? And that's what they use to like defend, to say that men don't have rights or some shit.
Right.
Not saying, like, I don't want to minimize. For sure, it has happened and does happen.
Yeah.
But
there was a study that I did. So weird prison story. We're gonna get into them today, I feel like. So there was a guy there that was one of the prisoner religion group leaders. I don't know what the right word is for it, but basically he was one of the inmate chaplains. And because I was a guy who knew how to find information on the internet through the terminal at the time, he asked me to research some stuff for him for one of his sermons that he was given. He wanted to know what percentage of people in the prison system had been sexually assaulted or molested in some way prior to entering prison. I think like the point that he was driving at is that not only is there kind of a homophobic culture that's definitely there in prison, but there's also a like a built-in cultural disdain for anybody that is
a predator.
A predator, yeah, any type of sexual predator, specifically those against children, but any type of predator. Disproportionately so to that in the general of society. So much so that he was curious about it. And a lot of the studies that I pulled up said anywhere between 30 to 70% of the prison population probably had some incident of molestation or a sexual assault against them in their childhood. So there was
wild.
Yeah, it was varying studies, but definitely a larger number compared to the general population. And so I think a lot of these things can kind of contribute to the
cycle of abuse.
For sure.
Yeah. That's horrific. I mean, and then we make illegal and inaccessible actual rehabilitation for people. So, and people, you talk about crimes like sex work or any drug related shit that a lot of times comes back down to that or some kind of trauma, and literally have a system to perpetuate the cycle instead of offer rehabilitation.
Yeah.
On that note,
let's get to the next clip.
Is he teaching other people how to trade and stuff like that in jail, like other than you?
Yeah, like it was a couple guys. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple guys. Like Sam, if he's free, he's gonna sit down at the table with his notebook open, and all you gotta do is pull up and talk.
Is that the same clip as before?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's the one you were talking about.
Oh, okay. So it's that's indicative of my experience as well. In fact, in Beaumont, we were talking about we were talking to some of the people that were in charge of education department there to create a kind of a part of the education department that had a bunch of TVs, because there was so much interest in learning about options trading and day trading that they wanted to have like 3 or 4 TVs up that were tuned into all the financial news networks.
Dang.
Because you couldn't have a Bloomberg terminal or any other type of terminal with like Yahoo Finance to get
Right.
the action. So there were dudes that would sit there kind of as a public service to everybody else that was interested in learning about finance, that would just sit there and watch the ticker go across.
Yep.
And they would keep a notebook that was just the prices of like the stocks that we were watching as a group. And they would do like basically fantasy trades. Like, okay, you start the quarter with $10,000 and, you understand how an option works or, a covered call or these other types of different financial concepts. And they would try to trade against each other and see who could do what with what.
That's pretty cool. It's sounds fun.
I mean, it's certainly a way to pass the time.
It's yeah. I mean, if you can't get Monopoly in there,
Why not? But it's basically, it's LARPing Monopoly. Yeah.
Yep. All right, next one.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's fucked up. I think we focus on the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? Like it's worse things going on in this world.
Well, people get really mad at this sentiment, saying that you don't think that Sam should get life in prison because people say, well, Sam stole X amount of money. It was billions of dollars. It's a huge amount of money. So people say, well, some people might have lost their life savings. They might have killed themselves.
Honestly, Sam didn't even know he was stealing. He didn't know what he was doing was illegal.
So this
Have you talked to him
is
about
the
this?
argument
Yeah,
that he
that's
made
exactly-
that this is I've had this discussion so many times with people on the inside and the outside, right? So we're supposed to be this legal principle of mens rea, where there has to be intent to steal for it to be called theft, and then there's also this trope that is trotted out by judges and internet debaters quite often, which is ignorance of the law excuses no man. So, according to Sam, if we believe Sam's side of the story, and either he has deluded himself into believing the side of the story because he's even convinced the people and he's locked up with, or he actually believed it. It doesn't really matter. But his line is that I vetted all of my activities through my lawyers. My lawyers said, what you're doing is okay. There's not a problem. If that is in fact the case, and there is no intent to commit fraud, maybe this should be for Ask a Lawyer. Play this clip for Josh. If there is no intent to commit fraud, even though fraud is committed and you vetted it through the lawyers, are you culpable for the losses that are incurred, criminally and civilly?
I mean, yeah, we need to ask Josh or maybe another lawyer. We need to dig into that. But mens rea, I mean, if you don't know something's a crime and you commit it, you still are going to, like, I didn't know that walking across the street, not at a crosswalk with a beer bottle in my hand was a crime. I still had to.
Right. I mean, depends on where you are, right? Like if I'm in New Orleans, that happens, constantly throughout the night. There's no reason to believe that it's illegal there. We do the same thing in Richardson, Texas. Absolutely getting, probably a fine, if not carted off to the jail for the night.
Ignorance of the law does not.
Right. But also, you didn't mean to commit a crime. Who were you trying to harm?
Yeah.
Right?
He was just trying to make a lot of money.
He was just, he was trying to provide a service. He was trying to make money, which is, making money is not a crime.
Wait, so it sounds like you and Tiffany here both have pretty a soft spot for SBF. Is that true in the crypto world?
No. I mean, like if you put me in the context of a bunch of crypto people talking about SBF, I feel like he was a net negative for the space in a lot of ways, even when he wasn't committing fraud. Just his general approach to the space, I had a philosophical disagreement with. That doesn't mean I wouldn't have broken bread with the guy. There's lots of people I disagree with. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Brian Armstrong does, and he's the CEO of Coinbase. That doesn't mean I think he's a bad guy. I just don't agree with his approach to the space.
Got you.
But also, I mean, I was an anarchist and a libertarian before I was a crypto guy in prison, and my work with the prison abolitionists at Free Rostow before I got locked up, and my research while I was locked up, I mean, I don't believe that prison ought to exist in the first place. So a lot of my commentary on SBF is kind of colored by that. I don't necessarily have a soft spot for what he did, because he definitely harmed people in many ways, but I don't necessarily believe that the justice is being served. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, abolish prisons.
Yeah. The prisons are for burning.
So, yeah, you were wondering how Sam ended up in your unit.
First of all, this is my first time meeting somebody like Sam that came to jail for crypto, period. So, you know, me being in the unit, boom, everybody put me on. You know, they let me know exactly
So
who it is.
just to give some more context, he had just come out of SHU, which is a special housing unit where it's like when you've been disciplined for some reason. He'd been locked up for almost 4 years at the time when Sam got put in his unit. It's a small unit. There's not a ton of people in there, so it's understandable why he hadn't met a crypto person yet, both based on the time frame that he was locked up as well as the size of the unit. So we can keep playing from there.
In there, he did this. He stole money from such this that allegedly, you heard? Allegedly.
He was convicted now, but yeah, we can still say allegedly.
I think it was a wrong conviction. Me personally, you heard? Like really, like it's a bunch of other things y'all need to worry about other than stuff like that.
Did that come on the microphone?
Nah, that's outside.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we've kind of hashed that point of view that he's got there a few times already. So it's there's a lot of other like harmful to society things is what he's trying to say, and I don't totally disagree. That ought to be higher on the list of things to pursue for justice and societal benefit than people that were playing with cryptocurrency, and certainly for the disparity in sentencing.
Obviously, the white guys, it goes with the white guys. It's just how it goes. Spanish people to Spanish people.
So he's talking. Okay,
people,
let go back. Actually, let me intro this clip and then hit play on it since I know what he's talking about. So this clip he's talking about.
Sorry, can you start over?
Yeah. So this next clip he's going to be talking about like the sorting hat of prison, which is kind of when you're brought in, you're put with what's called your car, and what he's describing. His G-Lock is describing in this clip, he would probably be, kind of in that brain trust car that we've talked about that was in Beaumont, where it was kind of across the racial lines. But initially, you're just thrown in with anybody whose skin looks like yours.
Obviously, the white guys, it goes with the white guys. It's just how it goes. Spanish people to Spanish people, black people to black people. Then you got people like me that just fuck about it. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So at the time, Carmine and only white guys there. So then when he came, it started being 3 of them. So this guy tattoos
okay, so actually,
so
the guy Carmine he's talking about was another noteworthy case in New York City. If you Google it, it was a cop that was notably involved in some CSAM type situation, had an immense amount of material on some digital device and got caught. So it sounds like a lot of what he was in the unit for was not just notable cases, but also what they call a dropout yard, which is kind of where you put people that might otherwise be targeted. And then so this story, if he does the full story he's talking about, is when they got their third white guy in the unit. Basically, Sam had to be kind of paired up with this guy that was a child predator because that was the only other white guy that was there. And then the third guy that came in, he's about to say, is a neo-Nazi.
These is like, for me, I'm a different kind of, for me, I'm a rapper. His shit looks scary. Like he got some big, crazy shit. Mm-hmm. But he's chilling with Sam and this guy every day, on Carmine every day.
Really? Like still?
Huh? No, he left.
Okay.
We had to beat him up, Nah, for real, we had to. He was wild.
Yeah. So the rest of the story, it takes a long time for him to get into, but the rest of the story was this neo-Nazi guy that they brought in, or that was sent into the unit, came in and came up to Carmine, the cop, and just started like dry humping him in the middle of the unit, and Sam's. It's the only time that Sam apparently laughed the entire time. Was he was just like paralyzed with laughter at this weird scene in front of him, and that was it. That's the whole story. But basically, because of this guy was causing too much trouble in the unit, and getting physical with other people, they had to beat the crap out of him because they're trying to keep some level of civility, I guess, some level of because all the high profile people there, they didn't want. There was another incident where someone tried to extort SBF that made the news as well, and they wound up disciplining him as well.
Wait, this Carmine guy was a cop who had CSAM?
Yeah.
Okay. And they were all chilling together?
I mean, you have to. That's just the weird thing about prison. Like you have to. I mean, you may have to spend time with people that in the free world you would never want to be associated with. Number one, number two, who you find some of their past completely odious.
Well, you were talking about the disdain for child predators.
Yeah.
There's also a disdain for cops, I would
yeah.
assume. So it's just odd.
But the reason why Sam was hanging out with the dude is because it's probably forced him to be his cellie, right? Because it's very unusual for you to have a cellmate who is not your same race.
Yeah.
It happened with me because we were kind of getting overcrowded towards the end of my stay in Beaumont, and so like some of the rules got more lax. But there's I would have to venture a guess that this Carmine guy is the de facto white car leader in Brooklyn, and there's basically, you hold your turf. So there's white. Whenever you're sent into a unit, they let the prisoners sort themselves out, basically. And whoever leads the car reports back to the unit manager or the counselor or somebody and says, okay, Sam's in this cell, G-Lock's in this cell, this is G-Lock's cellie, this is Sam's cellie, and they write it down on a notepad, and that's where you have to stay. But when you're internally sorting as a leader of a car, you're like, these cells belong to my car. So whenever someone new is brought in, or whenever it's like new inmate day or whatever, you stand at the front as a leader of the car and you bring people in to, like, okay, are you white or are you Mexican? Because your skin looks light, but I could see you being a Mexican. Whatever, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
And then so the idea is they're going to spread you out amongst the cells that belong to that car to keep control of that turf, even if there are no cellies for that particular car. So because there was only one other white guy, Sam was kind of forced to hang out with this guy, even though he's a cop and a child predator. He's got no other choices, at least not to start.
Yeah. All right. I think there might be a couple more.
Okay.
I see like Sam is like getting pressured by this guy, named Juice. Mm-hmm. So he's getting pressured by him. Mm-hmm. And one day, my good friend Gene, our friend Gene, he was also incarcerated with us. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Gene is telling the guy, Sam, like, yo, this is a good unit. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody here is high profile. Mm-hmm. So you don't really got too much to worry about, Mm-hmm. And the guy's trying to have Sam under pressure. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to have him like scared.
Yeah.
It's a small unit, you feel me?
Basically, like to extort him?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We could probably edit those two clips together for as an editing note. We can put those two clips together with like sandwich what I was saying previously with this one, because that's the other end of the story.
Gene Barello. Yo, Gene, yo, Sam. Juice call him and you know, they come over there and he started telling Juice started telling Gene like, yo, like stop chilling with him. You
Is
know,
that it?
like people are so stupid, you know, like instead of sitting down and actually having an intelligent conversation where you can actually learn. He told me things that I would never learn in average. I never went to school, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I dropped out in ninth grade, like, you get what I'm saying? So for me to sit there and get that kind of knowledge from a, you know, MIT grad, it's like, shit.
I guess we skipped into another clip or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of talked about both of these concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Sam was laughing. Sam is hard to get. It's hard to get Sam to laugh.
Yeah.
I've seen him laugh a few times when we're making like dirty jokes.
Right.
Sam has a sick sense of humor, and I like that about Sam because
Right.
I have a sick sense of humor too.
Right.
Sam's favorite
Me
TV
too.
show is BoJack. Yeah, hell yeah.
Do you like BoJack?
BoJack Horseman is
I've never
Sam's favorite TV
watched
show.
BoJack Horseman.
I never finished it, but it's a phenomenal show. It's so good.
Is it?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you and Sam, you love it.
Oh, yeah, never mind. No, it's good. It was good when I watched it. I didn't finish it. I don't know how it'd hold up, but it's good.
It's like dark humor. I haven't actually watched it, but he's told me he
yeah,
gives me
check it
like
out.
play-by-plays of.
I think
BoJack.
I done. Matter of fact, just for you, Sam, I'm checking that out today, Sam.
We're watching
Just for
BoJack
you.
Horseman.
Yep.
Maybe we'll watch an episode together.
It's lit. It's lit. We miss you, Sam. I miss you, my boy. Yo.
I miss Sam too.
Yeah. You
I
really-
can't say. I shouldn't say it on camera, but Sam's always been very kind to me.
I mean, this is I don't know how much if this clip goes on any further, but like there was a lot of that in this interview where they both had the same impression of Sam's personality, like as an individual, you know, as someone who interacts with somebody else. Like Sam was, you know, a good guy, like at least socially, you know, despite all like the weird. I mean, because he lived in this weird like polycule in the Bahamas where a bunch of the people that worked at FTX were having sex with each other and this other stuff that came out. But like it was, and so like I guess that kind of got spun into, you know, he's a strange dude that was into, basically created a sex cult that scammed people for billions. But like, you know, I just think that it was, you know, it was interesting to see both Tiffany and G-Lock's read on Sam be almost identical. You know, in two wildly different contexts, they have the same read on him as a person, which wasn't the read that I had from him. He presented a completely different persona on stage and on Twitter. So I would not have pegged him as the guy who is, you know, a gentleman and a scholar based on, you know. But you know, internet personalities are different from reality, I suppose.
Yeah.
People always ask me like, did Sam ever pressure you? Because I'd go.
Okay. Was that the first one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. Went back around. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully there's something useful there. I think next time when we do this, when we pull those clips like that, we'll probably try to order them chronologically because there's some there that probably could have gone. Make it easier
Yeah,
on the
we should have
editors.
probably done that.
Yeah.
It's Opus doesn't really do that. It orders it according to whatever's, you know, best to worst type
Right.
deal. We can make some notes on it for them, but it should be pretty straightforward. There's a couple of clips that were talking about the same thing. Just stitch those with Mark's analysis, and then some chronology would be flipped on those clips.
Yeah.
I guess. Just wanted to say I like G-Lock. Let's get him. G-Lock, if you're watching this.
Yeah, I mean, he might actually be watching. If he's not watching live, he might be watching some version of this that comes out while I'm in Denver because he reached out to me. I say he reached out to me. I think I subscribed to his. I just followed him on Instagram after seeing this. And
Do you know what's his Instagram?
I can pull it up real quick.
Trying to find it.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you. He's the last guy I followed. It's knock him out his shoes. But that's
Hell
not,
yeah.
that's not his username. That's just the name. Let's see. Okay, how do I go to your actual fast lane G _ lock? I don't know if you could see that at all. Here, I'll share it to you on Discord.
Got it up right here.
You got it? Okay, there you go.
His profile picture.
Yeah, he changed it. It was something else yesterday. So
Yeah, I mean, he probably realized what he's got with,
for sure.
but I want to hear his music. Shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's so. What did we say yesterday? So he responded to because it's been just as on a personal note. It's been a year since I cleaned out my bunk in Beaumont.
Wow.
As of tomorrow, it's been a year.
Damn.
So I posted a little Instagram story about it, and it was right. That was the last story on my account before I followed him, and then he saw a couple of the videos that we've done, and the last video that I posted happened to be about the picture, right? So we exchanged a couple stories about that, and he expressed a willingness to come on the show. So we've got to figure out some way to do that.
Oh yeah, we'll figure out the logistics.
Yeah.
Also, Tiffany Fong, if you need a production company, I mean,
For sure. We'd love to do something.
pump up those angles for you.
Yeah.
But cool. Do you want to tail it
Yeah.
long form?
How long have we been going, by the way? Is it but more than an hour?
ish?
Hourish. Yeah, let's tail this, and if Jen's
Jen left.
Jen's gone, yeah, never mind. He left at 4. All right. So I don't know. What do we say for the? Nah, I don't really have
need
anything
to.
prepared.
It's
so
fine. It's we can just end it with us talking about getting G-Lock on.
yeah, that'll work.
Cool. Yeah. About this.
Yeah, we could just say goodbye to everybody watching the live stream and remind them that you should start a podcast. And that includes you, G-Lock, you, Tiffany Fong, and also you who are watching this, whoever you are, you know who you are. You should start a podcast. HarperBelmont.com. Do it today. You're watching The Merge, business, finance, and tech news and opinion. We keep you up to date so you don't have to go out there searching for what's new. You can hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the TikTok subscribe, the Instagram subscribe. We're going to keep you up to date wherever you are.